It was a tough series for the New York Yankees this weekend. They dropped 2 of 3 to Boston, including both games on Saturday and Sunday after initially getting the win to start this series. I think the biggest takeaway, is some pitching concerns for New York, and I think particularly with their bullpen coming out of this series. That first game on Friday, they win 9-6, but it was a little bit of a struggle for Will Warren to get through. Brent Hedrick gave up a couple runs there, but the bullpen was able to kind of lock it down after the Yankees got that nice lead and Boston tried to claw back. In that next game, Boston wins 10-7 on Saturday. They really got to Ryan Yarbrough. That's the first loss of the year for Ryan Yarbrough, and obviously his worst outing of the season, giving up 8 earned runs in 4 innings pitched, but the bullpen gave up multiple runs yet again here with Ian Hamilton struggling, giving up a pair of runs. And then on Sunday, an 11-7 defeat in a game where the Yankees, led 2-0 at one point and led 3-2. But a bad 6th inning that kind of snowballed from there continued to hurt the Yankees. Rodon gives up 2 home runs in this game, gives up 5 runs in 5 innings, but 3 different Yankees relievers give up multiple runs. Fernando Cruz comes in right after Rodon, gives up 2 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Jonathan Loáisiga gives up 2 home runs in his innings in a third, including a back-to-back. He has now allowed 3 home runs already this season. And then Brent Hedrick gives up 2 runs as well in his inning and a third. So overall, it's a disappointing weekend for pretty much everybody but Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge went 0 for 4 on Saturday, but he went 3 for 5 with a double in that first game, 3 for 4 with 2 home runs on Sunday night. But it was a tough series. It's a tough series to watch for the Yankees. And look, Boston can score runs. That's not been their issue this year. Their issue has been a lot of pitching problems, and particularly early in games, and that was the scenario that happened here, as well, where they gave up some early runs. But, I don't know. I don't know how I really feel about the way that the Yankees played in this series. And I know I mentioned on Friday's podcast when we did a little bit of a preview of the series after Cleveland, and I said you kind of have to throw the records out the window when it comes to this series. When it's Yankees, Red Sox, even though, again, it's not what it was in the 90s. It's not what it was in the early 2000s. But when it comes to Yankees, Red Sox, these teams tend to play each other well, and they tend to play each other as closer to equal than whatever their given records might be at the moment for either team. And I think you saw that here. And you got competitive games for the most part throughout, obviously the 2 national games over the weekend. But, the Yankees have been riding really strong pitching for a while now. Obviously they had some rough outings, in LA against the Dodgers, but for the most part, this is a team that gives up 1, 2, 3 runs, maybe 4 occasionally. I'm just taking a scroll through their schedule right now. After allowing, you allow 11 runs on Sunday, 10 runs on Saturday, and then obviously you had that 18-run disaster on May 31st in LA. But before all of that, I'm trying to find out when's the last time that they gave up. So it would be the 10th. May 10th was the last time before that Dodger series. So where they allowed more than 5 runs in a game. And so this is a team that's, prior to May 30th, you look at the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, last 9 games, they've given up 6 or more runs 5 times. After doing it 0 times in the 3 weeks prior. Now, Dodgers and Red Sox have some good offenses. I'm not it's not all things are created equal, but it is a little disappointing to kind of see the Yankees go out the way that they did here in this series. And again, you win one. It's not a complete disaster like a sweep would have been, but it is definitely disappointing, and it's definitely a rivalry that you don't want to ever give your opponent any level of bragging rights. But just tough. Just tough. You give up a ton of home runs in this Sunday game as well. And, obviously home runs are going to be a part of it. They're a part of the AL East, but they're also always a part of this series. But, you give up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 home runs in this game. Devers, in reverse order, Devers, Story, Toro, Narvaez, and Campbell all homer in this game. And obviously the Yankees, they have Judge homer twice, and DJ LeMahieu hits a home run as well. But it's just not what you want to see here. And I worry about some pieces of this bullpen. Obviously, Weaver being out hurts, but this is not. Some of these guys into these situations, there weren't Weave situations. Loizica has at times looked dominant, but at also times he's been hit around pretty hard. Fernando Cruz, same deal. Times looks dominant, other times been hit around pretty hard. Ian Hamilton's been hit around pretty hard most of the year. You start to look at some of the pieces that this team is going to need, and regardless of Weaver's status and when he returns, whether it's later this month or next month, I do think the Yankees are going to be in the market for a big-time reliever or two to really bolster this bullpen. I know obviously they didn't get the greatest outings of all time from the guys like Warren or even Rodon this weekend, or Yarbrough, but I don't think... obviously if there's a starter out there that makes sense, then that's one thing. I just don't know if that starter's market's really, especially now that Sandy Alcantara can't pitch for whatever reason. I don't say whatever reason, he's come back off an injury, but it's really, I'd have to do a deep dive in why he is so out of whack from what we normally would expect. But I don't know if there's going to be a lot they're going to add, that they can add reasonably on the starting pitcher side. So it's going to go back to the bullpen, and the bullpen's struggled at times this year. Struggled really early in the season, then was lights out for a while, and then has really started to struggle here. So I don't know. It's I have my a friend of mine that's a Red Sox fan that's texting me right now. So I guess this is what you don't want. I'm sure some of you out there are in the same situation, whether it's a text or on social media or whatnot. But you look at this series as a whole. There were some positive takeaways. You love that Judge has continued to stay hot. You start to look at a few of the other guys on this team, and I thought overall, even though it wasn't anything ridiculous, Volpe had a pretty decent series. Obviously missed that middle game there with getting hit, but I thought he had a solid series. DJ LeMahieu gets that home run on Sunday, but I thought he was solid as well. Hits in all of games. He was good on Saturday. So there were some strong performances in this series for some certain players, but obviously the weekend did not go the way Yankees fans wanted. But now you'll take a little bit of a break here. You have an off day before traveling. You got a 6-game road trip coming up here. 3 games in Kansas City to face the Royals, and 3 games at Boston. And we're going to preview that road trip on tomorrow's show. But and then there's a 7-game homestand coming up after that. But we won't get that far into the weeds just yet. We will preview that on tomorrow's show. But for now, the Yankees finish a 6-game homestand 3-3. They take 2 of 3 from Cleveland, 1 of 3 from Boston, heading in to their off day here on Monday.